This is Resident Evil 3 Remake. Today, I'm gonna attempt to finish it for the first time without ever dying. Not even once. Can I do it? Let's find out. This video is part of a series where I play every single Resident Evil game for the first time. However, I finish each game with a different challenge. Last video was Resident Evil 4 Remake, and the challenge was to complete as many playthroughs as possible within 48 hours of continuous gaming. Make sure to watch it after this one. But now, it's time for Resident Evil 3. We woke up from our deep slumber and started looking around the place, only to find out that our apartment is a total mess. And under no circumstances should we ever invite anybody into this place. We quickly ran to the bathroom to wash our face and realized that this apartment already has a baddie. Me. I mean, look at me. And then something freaky started happening to me, but thankfully it was just a dream. I quickly ran back to the bathroom to verify that I was still a baddie, and thank God I was still a baddie. And when my ex called me, I told him to sip out, but that creepy MF didn't take the hint. He pulled up to my crib and started telling me that he low-key on God loves me no cap, but I was not having any of it. I tried running away from him because he's a weirdo, but he was convinced that I am his long-lost Discord kitten. And when I finally made it out, Brad pulled up and started showing me his Unreal Engine 5 emotes. And when these zombies pulled up, we struggled so much and we barely managed to escape from them. And then our boy Brad got bit. I looked at him and I said, ew, and ran away and left him for dead. I borrowed this police officer's gun because come on, he ain't gonna use it no more. I tested it out to make sure it works, and now the challenge has officially begun. I stumbled across this crazy old man, told him about the Game Boy that I had at my house that needed a charger, but he told me that this was the oldest trick in the book and he ain't falling for it. Well, I had to try. I refused to hold the elevator for this gentleman because, as you guys know, my elevators ain't waiting for nobody. And when I made it to the top, the rescue helicopter pulled up. I made it to the helicopter and got on and finished the game with 0 deaths. And if you played the game, you would know that this is not what happened. Yes, our ex-boyfriend pulled up. We got into a random car and pretended that this is a Top Gear episode. Our boyfriend, however, doesn't like the show. And then some Latino guy pulled up, and as he was saving us from our boyfriend, I looked at him and I was like, hola! I'm sorry, I was just saying hi. I was just in Mexico area this year. We then followed Carlito to the underground safe place, met the boys at the subway, and then made it back to the surface in order to find a way to turn the electricity back on to the subway station. For the most part, I was trying my hardest to avoid any type of combat with the zombies, cause you know, permadeath. I just can't afford to die in a dumb way. Environmental kills were definitely my strategy, but every now and then, I got unlucky and took a couple of bites. We then got to this gate that needed a bolt cutter, found the fire hose in the nearby building, took a mental note to come back to get the shotgun once we get the bolt cutter. I ran around the area and stumbled upon this building that had this safe. We pulled up to the pharmacy and found the code for the safe, put the code and opened the safe, and got the dot sight for our handgun. And as I was walking through the city, my juking skills kept getting better. We made it back to this area and put down the fire, found the bolt cutter, found our first and much needed hip pouch, went back to get the shotgun, juked the police officer that ambushed us, used the bolt cutter on this gate, got ambushed again, and I was very disappointed to find out that I did all of that just for some shotgun shells. I then made it to the nest area and got deep-throated multiple times, and finally resetted all of the 4 circuit breakers. It took me a while to get through this section because 1, I was extremely cautious, and 2, I wasn't familiar with their moves, so I didn't know what to expect. That's why my throat was sore after this one. And when I finally made it out and was heading to the subway station, the stupid ex-boyfriend pulled up again, but I easily juked him and continued my way towards the subway station, only for for him to come back again a couple of blocks later. I almost died in this section because 1. I didn't know where to go, as you can see, and 2. I didn't know that I needed to look back at him to see his attacks and know when to dodge. I was just dodging randomly in hopes that I don't get hit. And then I was low-key spawn camped in this safe room, but finally conjured up the courage to book it up the stairs, and I took a sigh of relief as I entered the subway station, only to find out that I was supposed to be in the subway office and not the subway station. So I went back again, solved this puzzle, and started looking at those precious donuts. God, I hate being on a diet. And then Las Plagas pulled up, and the ex-boyfriend pulled up, but this time I easily juked his goofy ass and safely made it back to the subway station. I then chit-chatted with Carlito, played the hero and got beaten up for it, and barely managed to escape. And in the sewers I found this weird looking fish. I didn't know that it had an insta-kill attack, and thankfully I did not find out. And when I made it here, I found the battery pack that I needed for the closed doors. I quickly looted the room and then made my way back upstairs. But Senpai Jill kept startling me every time she grunts as I open doors. Oh. Jill, what the f? This section was a breeze since the only threat was the weird looking fish, and considering that I didn't know about the insta-kill attack, I was very lucky to make it out with 0 deaths. And as I was making it out, the ex-boyfriend makes yet another appearance, but this time he has a flamethrower. And when I made it all the way to the top, I started my first boss fight with Nemesis. The fight wasn't that hard and I comfortably finished him with no issues. Again, I didn't know about his insta-kill attack, and thankfully I did not find out. I continued my way towards the station, met this guy, stole his keys, used his keys on this gate, broke into someone's house, shot Las Plagas, and then Nemesis pulls up again with a freaking RPG. I called Daddy Whisker to teach me his dodging skills, but he didn't pick up, so I got blown up. I barely got away, survived this very intense sequence. Oh no, I barely died? Oh my god. I continued running away from Nemesis, reunited with my boy Carlito, and that man is fast. Buddy, wait! We safely made it to the subway and watched our boy Victorito blow Nemesis up. And now we play as Carlito for the first time. We sadly found out that Brad had completely turned into a zombie, MTD magazine on his face installed his card, and got bit for an embarrassing amount of times. This section was relatively easy, but definitely annoying. That is mostly because of the tight space and the lickers. The lickers and the tight space are not that big of a deal, but considering that this is my first playthrough of the game and it's a permadeath, I didn't have the skills nor the confidence to finish this section without taking any major losses. I was constantly on medium to low health, walking on eggshells because I didn't know what to expect, and just generally super scared and disoriented. And I almost died in the showers section. There were tons of zombies, a tight space, and the area behind you was blocked, so I was not able to run away. Thankfully, I magically made it out, and the challenge was still on. Senpai Jill gives us a call, and then we switch back to her. And then we immediately start the Nemesis fight. Now this fight was, weird. Nemesis immediately jumped at me, and I thought that this was an insta-kill attack. And low-key, I got a heart attack. But thankfully, it was not. But other than that and him climbing around like a monkey, this fight was a breeze. Senpai Jill then got infected, and then our boy Carlito pulled up and helped us. Oh my god, Senpai. You look so cute on that bed, all infected and whatnot. The second Carlito section was definitely the hardest. There were a lot of enemies, I didn't know where to go. And again, when I met the hunters, I did not know that they had an insta-kill attack. And again, thankfully, I did not find out. It was definitely a combination of extreme luck and hardcore cautiousness. Because when I tell you I was tippy-toeing, I was tippy-toeing. However, at this point of the challenge, I was definitely more confident and I took more risks. I continued walking through the hospital, assaulted some hunters, got what I needed, looted the area, made it to the laboratory only to find bro sleeping. I didn't care though because I was here to save my senpai. So I took the vaccine and injected Jill. Our friend pulled up, we learned that we are getting nuked, and then more zombies pulled up. I really liked this section because it felt like Call of Duty. However, the last time I played Call of Duty was the hit PlayStation 3 game Black Ops 1. And then Senpai wakes up, Carlito starts tweaking, but thank God all of this was just a dream. And now we continue exploring the hospital as Jill. And when I reached this area, I got to meet these annoying pendejos. This section wasn't hard, but rather annoying. I almost died a couple of times because these pendejos are such an annoyance. And at the time, I did not know how to deal with them. But thankfully, we safely made it out. We then reunite with our friend only to say goodbye to him a couple of minutes later, and now we are officially in the final area of the game. I was really proud that I made it this far with no deaths. However, at the end of the day, this is standard difficulty and it was mostly luck than skills. We made it to this area, stole some random flash drive that definitely doesn't have illegal things in it, collected the sample and then the test tube, pretended that this area is not the most obvious ambush area, put them to sleep no problem, completed this puzzle, and got the vaccine. And as we were escaping from the facility, Nemesis found his way to us. We tried to escape to avoid a fight, but we ended up fighting him anyways. And in this fight, the challenge was over. The boss fight was extremely easy, don't get me wrong, but at this stage of the challenge, my luck ran out. You see, since this is my first playthrough, I had no idea that I needed to use these electric thingies in order to beat him. I was just using my weapons, and shot after shot, bullet after bullet, and acid round after acid round, I had no ammo left and Nemesis was still alive and kicking. That's no problem, I can use the knife, right? No. I left the knife in the item box. I was devastated to learn that I was gonna lose the challenge due to a stupid mistake. And I didn't know what got into me that day, but I completely forgot that I could have just reloaded my last autosave and got back to the fight. It's probably because I didn't use the typewriter throughout the entire game since, permadeath, when I die, I'm just gonna restart from the start of the game, so there's no point in saving. But still, this was an unforgivable oversight, and it cost me the challenge. So I just let them kill me and closed the game and called it a day. The next day when I realized my stupid mistake, the anger was enough to push me through the entire game again to claim my victory. And after we defeated Nemesis, we immediately fired him again, easily put him down, swam in his goo, left Nikolai for dead, and finished the game. So, can I permadeath Resident Evil 3 on my first playthrough? Technically, yes. I mean, if you wanna count it, that's great, but if you don't, I don't know what to tell you. But for me, this challenge has been completed, and now I'm looking forward to play Resident Evil 2 Remake. So please let me know in the comments what challenge do you want me to do. And if you made it this far into the video, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on my main channel, and I will see you in the next one.